There is a simple physical test, one that most men have already performed thousands of times without ever thinking of it as a test at all, that quietly reveals something a standard blood pressure reading often misses entirely: the true condition of the heart and lungs working together under real demand. It requires no treadmill, no stress test machine, no appointment. Just a flight of stairs and a few honest seconds of attention to how the body responds. And according to research spanning decades of cardiovascular studies, how a man performs on this simple test is one of the more telling everyday indicators of cardiovascular fitness available outside of a clinical setting. The full test will be explained shortly, along with exactly what the results mean and what to do if the outcome isn't what was hoped for. But first, it's worth understanding why something as ordinary as climbing stairs can reveal so much about a system as complex as the heart, because the answer explains a distinction most men have never had laid out clearly: the difference between a heart that simply isn't failing and a heart that is genuinely fit. By the end of this video, the complete picture will be clear: the test itself, how to score it honestly, and the specific, realistic steps that improve the result faster than most men expect. Stay through this, because the benchmark that separates a merely adequate result from a genuinely strong one is more achievable than it sounds, even for men who haven't done structured cardio in years. Why stairs reveal what a resting checkup often doesn't. A standard checkup typically measures the heart at rest, blood pressure sitting in a chair, a pulse taken over a few calm seconds. These numbers matter, but they capture the heart in its easiest possible state, the equivalent of judging an engine's condition only while it idles in a driveway. Cardiovascular fitness, the kind that actually predicts how well a man's heart and lungs perform under real demand, only reveals itself under exertion. And climbing stairs happens to be one of the most efficient, accessible ways to create that demand without any equipment at all. It requires the heart to increase output quickly, the lungs to keep pace with rising oxygen needs, and the entire cardiovascular system to coordinate that response smoothly rather than lagging behind. This is part of why researchers have specifically studied stair climbing performance as a marker of cardiovascular fitness. One frequently cited line of research found that the ability to climb 4 flights of stairs briskly without stopping was associated with a level of cardiovascular fitness linked to meaningfully lower cardiac risk in surgical and general population studies alike. A simple, real-world proxy for the kind of fitness that formal stress testing measures in a lab. The test, explained in full here, is exactly how to perform it. Find a staircase. 4 flights is the benchmark used in much of the underlying research, but even 2 flights performed honestly provides useful information. Starting from a normal resting state, not already warmed up, climb the stairs at a brisk, steady pace, not a full sprint, but faster than a casual stroll, without stopping to rest along the way. The 2 things to pay attention to are simple: how quickly breathing becomes noticeably labored, and how long it takes for breathing and heart rate to return to a normal, comfortable state after reaching the top. That's the entire test. No specialized equipment, no calculations beyond paying honest attention to your own body's response. What the results actually mean based on the general benchmarks that have emerged from stair climbing fitness research. Here's roughly how performance tends to break down for men in this age range: climbing 4 flights briskly without stopping, while breathing hard but not desperately by the top, and recovering to a normal breathing pattern within a couple of minutes generally reflects a solid, healthy level of cardiovascular fitness, the kind associated with meaningfully lower cardiovascular risk in the research this benchmark comes from. Needing to stop partway, becoming significantly winded well before the top, or requiring several minutes before breathing feels normal again can be an early signal worth paying attention to, particularly if it represents a noticeable change from how the same stairs felt a year or 2 earlier, and climbing 4 flights briskly while barely feeling out of breath at the top, with recovery happening almost immediately, places a man in a genuinely strong fitness category, the kind of cardiovascular condition that a meaningful percentage of men decades younger don't reach. If that's you, the claim in this video's title applies directly. Why this particular marker matters. So much, the heart and lungs are often discussed separately from overall fitness, as though cardiovascular health exists in its own isolated category. In reality, cardiovascular fitness is one of the most consistently studied predictors of overall longevity and health outcomes across large population studies, frequently showing a stronger association with long-term health than several other commonly tracked metrics. Part of what makes stair performance such a useful proxy is that it captures something a single resting measurement cannot: how efficiently the entire cardiovascular system responds to real demand and recovers afterward. A heart that handles exertion smoothly and recovers quickly is functioning the way a well-conditioned system should. A heart that struggles under mild exertion and takes a long time to settle back down is signaling reduced cardiovascular reserve, even if resting numbers taken in a doctor's office look unremarkable. This is why sudden changes in stair tolerance, stairs, that used to feel easy suddenly feeling difficult, are worth paying attention to and worth mentioning to a doctor, even in the absence of any other symptoms. A common mistake that skews the result. There's one mistake worth flagging before trying this test, because it changes the result significantly. Some men, especially if they haven't done much cardiovascular exercise recently, unconsciously pace themselves too conservatively out of caution, treating the climb more like a careful stroll than a brisk effort, which understates their true fitness level. Others go too hard immediately, sprinting the first flight and burning out well before the top, which overstates how quickly fatigue set in relative to a sustainable pace. For an accurate result, the pace should be brisk and steady from the first step to the last, noticeably faster than a casual walk upstairs, but not an all-out sprint. If it's genuinely unclear what that pace should feel like, a reasonable guide is a pace fast enough that a short sentence could still be spoken, but a full conversation would feel difficult. That single detail alone tends to separate an honest result from a misleading one. What to do? If your result wasn't what you hoped, reassuring reality is that cardiovascular fitness responds to training faster and more reliably than almost any other aspect of physical health, even in men who haven't exercised consistently in years. Start with brisk walking. 20 to 30 minutes of walking at a pace that raises breathing rate noticeably, performed most days of the week, is one of the most consistently supported ways to improve cardiovascular fitness, and it requires no equipment or gym access at all. Add short bursts of higher intensity, alternating a few minutes of faster walking or light jogging with recovery periods. A simple form of interval training has been shown in research to improve cardiovascular fitness more efficiently than steady, moderate exercise alone, making it particularly useful for men working with limited time. Practice the actual test itself regularly, deliberately climbing stairs briskly a few times a week rather than avoiding them out of habit. Directly trains the specific cardiovascular response the test measures and tends to produce noticeable improvement within a matter of weeks. Track recovery time, not just completion. Improvement often shows up first as faster recovery, breathing returning to normal more quickly after the same effort, before it shows up as being able to go noticeably faster or farther. Paying attention to that recovery time offers early, encouraging evidence that the training is working well before the biggest gains become obvious. Most men who commit to a consistent version of this kind of training report a noticeably improved stair climbing experience within 4 to 6 weeks, a timeline that reflects how responsive cardiovascular fitness actually is to regular effort, regardless of starting point. The real takeaway: this test was never really about the stairs themselves. It's about what climbing them easily represents: a cardiovascular system capable of responding to real-world demand without strain, recovering quickly, and supporting an active, independent life for decades to come. That kind of fitness isn't reserved for men who've exercised consistently their whole lives. It's available to almost anyone willing to build it deliberately, starting from wherever they currently stand. This video is intended for general educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Anyone with existing heart conditions, chest pain, severe shortness of breath, or other cardiovascular concerns should consult a qualified healthcare provider before attempting this test or beginning a new exercise program, and should stop immediately and seek medical attention if experiencing chest pain, dizziness, or unusual symptoms during physical activity. If you tried this test while watching, drop your result in the comments. And if the stairs felt harder than you'd like, know that a stronger heart is closer than most men assume, often just a few weeks of consistent effort away.